Welcome to the Carl B. Phillips Show, hosted by gospel music industry veteran, recording artist, songwriter, producer, radio announcer, and actor, Carl B. Phillips. Join Carl as he talks with gospel recording artists, producers, songwriters, pastors, and other creatives about music, ministry, and life. Get ready for another great conversation on the Carl B. Phillips Show.
This week's guest on the Carl B. Phillips Show, the host of the new artist profile, Dallas Frazier. Welcome to the Carl B. Phillips Show. This week's guest is a syndicated radio host. He's an award-winning media leader, independent gospel music promoter, musician, author. He's also the founder and host of the new artist profile. Please help me welcome, I'm not going to call him by his government name, Dallas Frazier.
What's going on, Carl?
What up, though?
How you doing, bro?
Yeah, I'm wearing my shirt. What up, though?
I like that.
It's funny because when we first met, that was one of our conversations about what up, though, versus what you said where you were from, which was what up, was it what up, son, or something like that?
What up, son?
What up, son?
Yeah, man.
Man, it's such an honor to have this opportunity to speak with you, to kind of hang out with you, just to get to know you beyond what it is that you do in radio and what you do with music. Now, as I told you, we're going to go through a couple of random questions. First random question: if your life had a theme song that played every time you enter in a room, what would it be?
Wow. Oh, man. I would say two.
Okay.
The Best Is Yet to Come from Down Lawrence to Tri-City.
The best. Okay.
And Summertime by Will Smith. Because that's just a cool, laid-back, classic song. I think I'm a cool, laid-back, classic dude. And, you know, I live my life feeling like the best is yet to come. So, yeah.
Okay. Good answer. Good answer. Summertime, Will Smith, Best Is Yet to Come.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe that could be a nice mashup that you can kind of put them both together.
Right. Yeah, that was a great question.
So you're originally from New York. What was life like for you growing up in New York?
Man, I had a great life, man. I mean, you know, I can't tell those stories of some people saying they had a rough childhood. And, you know, I had two loving parents. I'm adopted. I was adopted at 6 months to two loving parents that raised me, God-fearing. All I know is Morning Star Missionary Baptist Church. I was in there from 6 months old until I left in 1997. My dad worked, he was an engineer at Grumman Aerospace. He worked on the space shuttle. He worked on the lunar module. He built part of the F-14 Tomcat fighter plane. My mother owned beauty salons. She was an entrepreneur, Bible school teacher. You know, we lived in Hollis, Queens, which was a middle class neighborhood back in the 70s and 80s. Man, I lived history because I was raised during the time of the entrance of hip hop in Hollis, because we know it started in Bronx and Brooklyn, but you know, Run DMC, LL Cool J, and those guys all from my neighborhood went to school with LL. My godmother lived 2 doors down from Russell Simmons' mom, so we was always seeing them. Man, I really had a great upbringing as a kid. I'm an only child, you know, but I had a big extended family. And I remember, you know, growing up, being in Hollis, you know, it was about 50 kids on the block. So we always had somebody to play with. And then we had, you know, the neighboring blocks kids come and we would play football, stickball, skelly, little game with tops we used to play. Man, just, you know, it was just a great life. I mean, we weren't rich, but my mother knew how to manage money. And my dad made, you know, for that time, you know, made very well. And my mother being an entrepreneur, she did well. You know, it's always up and down as an entrepreneur, but, you know, ladies were coming to get their hair done. I remember that hot comb burning that hair because I spent many days in the beauty salon, you know. So, you know, I really can't say I had a rough life. You know, it was really good. Great upbringing.
So you said you were raised in Hollis. Can
Mm.
you spit a couple of bars of Christmas in Hollis?
Man, you would put me on the spot, bro. No, I can't. I could do bam, 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 boom, down, boom, boom. I could do the music. I can't remember what he was saying.
Was it Mama in the kitchen cooking collard greens or
Collard
something?
greens, yeah, yeah, yeah.
And I'm going to admit, I just discovered Christmas in Hollis maybe 7, 8 years ago. I didn't even know the song
Really?
existed. We were
Yeah,
doing
man.
some,
That was a classic, brother.
that was,
Yeah.
you know, for me, rap music, I was in the church. So I never really kind of got into like the hip hop culture. I think they probably lost me after my Adidas and
Okay.
what was the other one? Freaks Come Out at Night. That was kind of like
That was Houdini. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
Houdini. Yeah, so I never really got into the hip hop culture because I was saved. I was in the
Well,
right
I,
place.
I was I was I was trying to be safe. I was sneaking listening to it. But musically I had the best of both worlds
Mm,
because my mom, I was raised up on all the gospel classics, like all the gospel classics. I'm talking about from the Soul Stirrers to James Cleveland when he was with all those different choirs he did, and the Caravans and Walter Hawkins and then we move into Detroit with Straight Gate and all that stuff. Hezekiah, of course, in New York, and Benny Cummings in New York. I mean, all of that music from the gospel side, the Clouds of Joy. But then, I had Al Green, I had Otis Redding, I had Aretha Franklin, I had the OJs, I had Stevie Wonder, I had Michael Jackson, I had Earth, Wind and Fire. So it was a great, melting pot. And of course, hip hop, so I had a lot of it going on. So music is really my heartbeat. It's I did a lot of things outside of music, but now in this season in my life, I'm doing music full time in some capacity, and it's just really what motivates me, what moves me. I love it so much.
you talked about your family left New York and moved south.
Mm-hmm.
How has life been treating you since moving south?
Well, I always came down here in the summers because my dad was from Aiken, South Carolina, and so every summer we came down here, and I really hated it because it was like so boring, nothing to do in the country, and sitting around watching the bees, flying these big water bug cockroaches. We had roaches in New York, but they weren't like these jokers down here this big, you know. And it was kind of boring. I had my cousins and stuff, but they were older than me. So,
Mhm.
summer times in the South was kind of boring, but I was used to being down here. But when I moved as an adult, I just made the best of it, and family, kids, and then ended up working. Came down because my mother got ill after my dad retired from Grumman's, and my mom sold the beauty salons. They moved down here. My mom got ill, so I came, to help out with her, and she transitioned, and just kind of stayed. Been here since '97, and it's 2000 years, so I've been out here a long time.
So when I was down there, I had a chance to meet your dad. He is so cool.
Yeah, yeah, he is. I forgot you met my dad. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, now he's 90 years old now.
And he has a smoothness about himself.
Yeah, yeah, he's cool. He is cool.
So have you kind of picked up some of his ways of
Oh
how he
yeah,
does
yeah,
it?
yeah, yeah. My dad never left the house looking bad. Never. This dude, I never had as much hair as he did. He always had the big fro. I never could get that. But my dad was the only guy I know that would comb his hair out perfect to go to bed. Perfect. Pat it down and everything. I'm like, Dad, where you going? Get ready to go to bed. What? Like, go to bed. He's always car was always immaculate, clothes always immaculate. He handled himself very well. So that's where I get it from. And one of my sons is like that. He kind of mirrors that.
Speaking of your sons, you recently posted that one of your sons got a job.
Yeah. Yeah, Miles got his first job. He won't. I was going to say he'll be out of my pocket, but that's not true Because even at my age, I'm like, hey, Dad, you got a couple of dollars? You know what I'm saying? So I think that never ends. You know, we're always in our parents' pocket if they're still living. But
My,
yeah, he's got his first job. He's well, he works at the church. We all do the AV ministry at the church, and I've trained him on how to work the cameras and stuff like that. So he gets a stipend from that. But yeah, this is his first full-time job, so he's excited about it.
so when you're looking at your sons, and over the past few years, I've had a chance to see them grow. What is it like for you to watch your sons go from boys to men? How was that journey for you?
Well, I will say this: you have to make sure that you take time to enjoy them. Um, there's so many times that we just going through life, baseball, basketball, school, school trips, church, uh, this, that, and the other, till time is going by like that. I remember when we brought Miles home, and I literally had him in the palm of my hand, and
Mm.
Mason was the same, you know, and so sometimes I have to kind of slow life down to really enjoy them, because you know I had to come to reality, and I'm just being candid, you know, because I worked so much, I didn't really know the type of personalities that they were developing.
Mm.
Um, and so sometimes I have to like slow down and just enjoy them as young men. You know, they're not kids anymore, because one is
Right.
13, one is about to be six. Well, one is about to be 14, one is about to be 16. So they're young, moving into young adulthood. So, but looking at them, man, you know, they do the mischievous things that we all have done. You know, not thinking. Teenagers, you know, do stupid stuff. You know, we all done it. You know, but overall, they don't give us a hard time at all. You know, they really good kids, and I'm blessed, and I really can say that it's from the training that we both give them, on both sides. You know, I see so many things that it's funny. I have to, when my dad is around and he hear me talking to him, he's just sitting back like, and he's like, and he'll call me out in a second. He'll be like, "Hey, Miles, your daddy used to do that." Like, do you really have to throw me under the bus? Hey, Mason, yeah, your dad's grades was horrible. He loved to do that. You failed the class. He failed all the classes 1 year. You know, so,
Wait a
but
minute. So is your dad telling the truth?
yeah, I was not a great student. No, not that, you know, and that's what I tell my kids, man. It wasn't that I couldn't be, because I was highly intelligent. I just was uh, distracted by school. Bored me. It really
Mm.
did. I was a creative person. And when I got the opportunity to be creative, then I really locked in. Um, Once I got into the jazz band and started playing bass, and when I started playing baseball, I pitched, you know, as an adolescent all the way through high school. Then that's what locked me in, you know. But up until then, I was like, I hate this, you know. I wasn't a school dude, you know what I'm saying? But uh, I sometimes regret that I didn't give more of an effort. But I take that true life experiences and share with my sons. I'm like, yo, this is what I did, bro. Like, I'm not the parent that's going to hide mistakes. I'll be like, yo, this is the mistake I made, dude. Don't go down this way. I'm telling you, it didn't work. You know what I'm saying? I believe in keeping it 100.
Now, you're also a girl dad. Talk about the relationship with your daughter.
Man, she is so spoiled. Like, she is spoiled. So the story is, we kind of adopted her. She had a really rough situation that she was going through, and she just kind of clung to us, uh, like around 16. And you know, we just been, you know, we've been there for her, you know,
Mm.
and I'm dad, you know, and so she's amazing. She's to see her go through all of the challenges that she's gone through, and then now she's a mom, entrepreneur. She has one of the most fastest growing photography businesses here in Aiken, and she's self-taught. And I asked her, I said, what made you decide to be a photographer? Because you was taking pictures, Dad. And I was like, oh, okay. I was like, wow. And when I tell you she has super exceeded, the things I could do behind the camera, she is amazing. So, man, but when I tell you that girl's spoiled, oh my goodness, she is spoiled. But I love her to death, man. I tell you, having a daughter and having two sons, it's kind of, I'm kind of I won't say rough. I'm a straightforward, in your face, this is how it is kind of guy. That's how I was raised. But you can't be like that with a girl. You kind of gotta tone it down a little bit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, be a little sensitive.
Yeah. Sometimes I still be like, yo, Brittany, like, yo, that, come on. But, she's like, so yeah, but no, great kids, man.
She can give you them little eyes and your pocket empty.
Yes. And yeah, she's something. She has her way.
But most people know you for your work in radio. Talk about who Dallas is once he leaves the radio station, once he turns the microphone off. Who is, I don't want to say your government name, but who is Tony D?
You can. Yeah, I ain't shy.
No, I'll be nice. Every time I say that, you call me my whole government name. But who is Tony D once the microphone is off?
Ooh, man, I love to have fun. I love to cut up. I'm real silly. I love to try to do impersonations. I'm always impersonating around somebody around the house. Man, I love to help people. I go beyond the call of duty sometimes to help folk. But I get that from my dad. My dad's the same way. I love God, and I love church. Sometimes I don't love the things that go on in the church, but I love church. I love participating and helping to render my gifts that God gave me to in our local body at Second Baptist Church in Aiken. And I love talking to young people, helping to mentor them, if they'll listen. It's a different generation of kids nowadays, trying to communicate with them. But but most of it, man, I'm a sports fanatic. Love sports. I'm a historian of sports, and I'm beginning to be a just in general historian. I love docu-pics, docudramas, docu-movies. So a lot of times I'm watching somebody's documentary, just to learn. At this age, I'm really trying to learn as much as I can, different theologies, more about our own belief in Christianity. But be honest with you, bro, one of the things I have issues with is I'm a workaholic. Like, I work all the time. I was working up until 6:54. Come on with you. I work all the time. Because when you're an entrepreneur, you got to do what you got to do. So I'm learning that work life family balance to just tell myself, okay, shut it off and spend time, with your family. So yeah.
I think that, and this wasn't a question, but I've been there where as men, we feel like we have to work to take care of our families, and we don't know how to stop to enjoy our families. And I think you just kind of hit on that a little bit. Now that you're starting to learn that, what is that like for you now where, okay, at a certain time of the day, I have to stop? What is that like for you? What is that point where you say, okay, let me stop, let me go to the game, let me go check on my daughter, let me do something with my family? What is that point for you?
I'm enjoying it because I'm actually, like I said, for my boys, I'm getting to know their personalities, and now I'm spending a lot of time with my dad. He's 90 and his health is beginning to fail. So I'm able to kind of take him around to different appointments and just kind of chop it up with him and learn history. Like last week we went to a doctor's appointment, and after the appointment, we just sat in the car. He just was dropping some jewels on me, like about everything, stuff I didn't know about his childhood. And so I'm enjoying being able to take different times out of the day to spend, with them, and then kind of just spend with myself. You gotta have a time to rejuvenate yourself mentally, physically, emotionally, and spiritually. Sometimes, we work so hard to try to bring in the income, but we hadn't spent any time with God. We hadn't spent time with ourselves to just relax our minds. We hadn't done anything to develop our bodies. When I was working at Sam's in the optical department and the different opticals I worked, I was on my feet. If I was making glasses, I'm here, there, trying on, but when I got home and worked from home, if I'm not at the radio station, I'm sitting at the computer all day. So I'm learning, okay, I got to get up, I got to walk. So me and the dog will walk, and so it's different, but I haven't mastered not being a workaholic now. But I'm realizing the older I get that time is, the Bible says time is but a vapor, and
Right.
so I'm just looking at my daughter who's raising her daughter, who we just went to Sunday. We just went to her debut of singing This Little Light of Mine at church, and I remember holding her. So yeah, I'm talking to myself and say, okay, Aunt, cool out a little bit, you know what I'm saying? Yeah.
It's interesting because you talk about aging, and again, this is not questions I have written down, but when you talk about aging, for a lot of times as men, especially as we get older, we feel like we still have something to prove, and we don't want to stop because, like, okay, I may be 50, but I can still do all this. Do you ever feel that way? Like, okay, I'm in my 50s, but I still got to keep going.
I feel like that until I start doing what I was trying to do, and then I realized that I can't do it no more.
Until your son start beating you in basketball.
Oh yeah. I don't even try. He used to, man. I remember the last time. It's funny that you say that. The last time we played out in the yard, and he felt like if he beat me, he beat Jordan, and I was like, I'm not gonna let this dude beat me. And Carl, it took every ounce of my energy to beat this kid. Right? Because I couldn't stay, because he knew how to guard me, so I couldn't shoot my threes. So I had to come in, and I beat him, but that's probably the last time I beat him. Yeah, and so yeah, I'm real, and you one of the things that my dad and I were talking about, because I'm saying to him, like, he's like, man, I shouldn't be feeling this way. I should be able to. I'm like, Dad, you're 90 years old. Like, you're not, but I'm telling myself that too. Like, God bless me. I'll be 50, I think I'll be 58 in December. And my mind still tells me, like, yo, Tony, you could go out and do all that stuff, but not these knees, not this hip.
Wait till you get into the 60s. It's a whole nother story.
Yeah, bro.
Speaking of time and stopping, what is your favorite thing to do in the South on a hot, sunny day?
Man, I like to just go sit by the lake at the Riverwalk. I don't know. Did you go by the Riverwalk when you were here?
I can't remember.
I like to go by the Riverwalk to just sit and chill.
I went and saw James Brown.
Okay, well, it's not too far from that statue.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you just like to sit and chill by the lake?
Yeah. I listen. I'm telling you, man, there's never, very rarely is there a moment of the day that goes by that I don't have music. Music is what drives me. It's my joy. Like, I love it. If either it's gospel that I'm listening to, my favorite old school gospel, or new stuff for the NAP show, or old school classics, or my favorite jazz artists. I'm always got music on. So I'm sitting at the Riverwalk with my earbuds on, listening to some jazz or some gospel, or some good preaching. Yeah, I like to do that. I do that quite often. Yeah.
Let's do another random question. If your family had a reality show, what would it be called?
Wow. Family Matters.
And why Family Matters?
Because we got a whole bunch of different personalities. There's always some laughter going on in this joint. And then maybe it might be some of good times because I'm like James at times. I'm James Evans at times. So yeah, and then my oldest is JJ. Yeah.
Just don't say that your youngest is going to be Urkel.
No. Let me see. Mason is real techie. He's a techie guy. So I think he would be the techie part of Urkel, but he's cool. So he would be Stefan. He'd be Stefan Urkel. Yeah.
or Michael from Good Times. Because Michael was kind of nerdy.
Yeah, but he ain't as mouthy as Michael is. Michael's mouthy. Yeah. He can five across the lips.
So you
My mother used to always want to whoop Michael. My mother's like, that boy got too much mouth.
So your family could do an updated version of Good Times. That would be interesting.
Yeah, because my daughter could be Thelma. Yeah.
You should do a skit like that one time.
We should.
We do like a reenactment of one of the Good Times shows.
We should.
How did you get your start in radio?
Bro, when I tell you by happenstance, I was at the barbershop, and the barbershop had two sides. And I was sitting waiting to get my haircut when I had hair. And
I was about to say, how long ago was that?
That was a long time ago. And I heard this voice, and I was like, man, that's old boy on the radio. So I went around, make the long story short, I was like, I want to be on the radio. It was like, yeah, everybody say that. So I was like, no, for real. He said, well, be at the radio station tomorrow. So I was at the radio station, and I interned with him for, I don't remember, a couple of years. And when I say interned, I interned. I was the gopher, literally. But I watched and I learned. And he's gone on to be wherever he is. But he wasn't the nicest person. Wherever. But he's no longer here with us on the earth. But I learned.
Did you speak at his memorial service?
No, I was there, but I was like, But he did teach me a lot. You know, it's one thing even though, you know, I tell my kids and I tell young people sometimes people can be rough, but you can learn something from everybody.
Right.
And he did teach me a lot of stuff. And so, yeah, that's how it branched out. And then it just kept on morphing from there. And I filled in with my radio mentor, Harry Hughes. He was the voice in Augusta for years. And I used to sit in with him. And then he allowed me, when his health began to fail, he allowed me to sit in and do the afternoon drive, which was an honor. And then the New Artist Profile was called the New Artist Showcase. It was only a 30-minute show on Sundays. And then I sat in for that and began to have a desire to help independent artists because I was with an independent group here. And then I took that over and branded it the New Artist Profile. It went from 1 hour, now it's 2 hours. And so, yeah, I started in radio in 2003. But I had been DJing in the club like since I was 17. So I had the gift of talking and blending music and stuff like that. I used to mix CDs and give them to people. And they all used to be like, yo, Ant, man, it sound like you on the radio. Because I would make up a fictitious radio station and just back announce and front announce. I didn't know I was back announcing and front announcing. I was just saying who, such, and this is such. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, because again, growing up in New York, loving music, listening to radio, I had my radio icons that I listened to. Frankie Crocker was the voice of New York City. And then on the hip hop side, we had DJ Red Alert. We had Angie Martinez, Angie Marr. You know, we had Carol Ford on Kiss FM. So I learned how to be a radio personality from them. And then when I got the opportunity, I just kind of meshed all of them together, and then with my personality became Tony D.
You talked about the new artist profile in the beginning of it. How important was it for you to have this platform for indie artists?
Super important. So I thought that if you were an artist in your local area and you had a song, you went to the radio station, you gave it to them, they played it. I thought that was the case. Well, Carl, you know,
No.
you're an artist. You're an amazing artist, great songwriter. You and Greg, all y'all, that ain't how it happens. And so I wanted to figure out, okay, how do I crack this code? And so God, in his funny way of doing things, allowed me to be in radio to learn how to crack this code. Like, God really has a sense of humor. And so, so it was really important because we had some amazing artists that wasn't getting the opportunity to have their music played. And so this is how God has blessed me. I've always been able to work at a station where I really could play what I wanted to play.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I didn't make the money that some of the other radio jocks did for the corporations, but I was able to play what I want, and I love that. Nobody ever says, Tony, you can't play, hey, y'all, let's come to church this morning, your song. If I was, I could play that if I want to. You know what I'm saying? Welcome, what's the name of Welcome to Church?
Good to see you in church today.
Good to see you in church, yes, which is currently airing on the New Artist Profile. So yeah, I've always had the opportunity to play whatever I wanted to play. And so the New Artist Profile, having that ability and that liberty really was able to break a lot of artists. Like, I played Travis Green when nobody knew who Travis Green was. Mm-hmm. I played a lot of artists. The guy, quartet guy, Jarrell Smalls. A lot of guys came through in this region that I played that they didn't know when they were on the come up. And they probably didn't remember they was on the New Artist Profile. But so yeah, I think it's important, and I'm so glad that I've been able to do this for going on 23 years to share this show and this music, man. I played so many songs, and now I'm on 50. I lost the station, so I'm on 52 stations, and man, God just keeps tripping me out about this. Every time I want to quit, it's just something in as my mother used to say, the city of my soul that won't let me quit. Because Carl, I be wanting to quit.
People don't understand that side of what we do and how sometimes it's like, this is enough. Now you're talking, 58, 59, almost 60 years old. You've been doing this for 20 years. You have those I'm done moments.
Yeah.
Let's be real.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
When you get to those I'm done moments, what sparks you to like, okay, I can do this for another week. I can do this for 6 more months.
Man, it's funny you should say do it for another week. I'm so glad that I have a lot of shows archived because I can go back and piece shows together. Because sometimes I'm like, bro, I can't do it, but if I get an artist, which happens a lot, that inbox me and says, Tony, I was listening to Robin McCullough's station in Philadelphia and I heard my song on the New Artist Profile. Thank you. Or Tony G in Columbia, South Carolina, who's on a competitive station and I'm on. And he'll hit me up and be like, yo, Tony, man, that song you played, the third song in the second hour, man, that was hot. Can you send that to me for my station? It's stuff like that keeps me, you know what I'm saying? I got a call. I got a WhatsApp message from a station in England, and there's a couple of artists over there that I played their music, and they were just overwhelmed that I was playing their music from England here in the States. I mean, they sent me all kind of messages thanking me, and they voice recorded the thing, and they had it all over there. So stuff like that is what keeps me going. It's like, man, thank you, God, for it. Sometimes I get emotional about it, because I'm just sitting in my little home studio, just recording my show, writing it out every week, but you never know the impact that things that we do have on people. And I know, as an artist, you never know what your song is going to do, that your current song is going to, somebody might hear it here, because I'll let you know it's playing on here in Aiken. You never know, somebody might hear your song and say, man, I'm going to go to church Sunday so I can have that fellowship feeling that I heard in that song I heard on the radio. You know what I'm saying? So those are the things that keep me going.
One thing, man, I have to say, because I followed you on social media and I followed you when you used to be on Facebook doing doing the NAP show.
Yeah.
But one of the things that I appreciated when I came to town to visit for radio, one of the things that I appreciated when you said to me, excuse me, we followed each other on social media, and it's nice to finally meet you. I think that it's important that we have relationships with those that are in radio. And I think sometimes we look to want the relationships with all the big name folks, all the major players, but everybody needs a start. So I want to personally say thank you for the start that you gave for me over the years in playing my music and the brotherhood that we've gotten just from knowing each other, just showing up and being there.
Yeah. Yeah, man, you're a cool dude, bro. Like you got some swag too, brother. Like,
Yeah.
I man, you're a really good guy. And I still rock your "Good Enough for God" wristband. I still do be rocking that mug.
So
Yeah,
I'm going to share something that when we met, you were at the station, and you told me something. You said, "Carl, I have too much music. I can't play your song right now."
Mm.
And a lot of times when those kind of comments are made, artists sometimes will get offended. But you and I sat and talked for 2 hours.
Yep, we
It's
did.
like, okay, you can't play my song. Talk about the importance of building relationships with those that are in radio.
Man, it's so important. That's one of the chapters in my book about lyrics to limelight, about building relationships. And a lot of times relationships can take you farther than money.
Mm-hmm.
And I like when people connect genuinely. Now, I'm not saying we all got to be homies and we hitting each other up every day and stuff like that. I understand life doesn't allow that. But periodically, hey, Carl, you hit me. Hey, Tony, I was just thinking about you, man. You good? Yeah. Hey, Carl, stuff like that is important because I always say at the end of the day, we put this music stuff aside, that we're people and we need
Right.
each other. You know what I'm saying? Hezekiah Walker said, I need you to survive. We need each other. And so I think we should really try to develop genuine relationships if you can. Now, some people's personality don't allow you to do that. And that's cool. But the personalities out there that will allow you to do that. And so if you would try. One of the things I tell art, I had a situation where I met an artist last weekend, and they asked could they send me some music, and I was like sure, and didn't hear from him for a couple of days, and then yesterday I get this random inbox, tell me how I could send you my song. That burns me up. So my response was, good morning, how are you doing? I hope everything is well. How was your weekend? Since it was wonderful meeting you at the event. And then I got, oh, my weekend was good. Yeah. Like, I'm more than just somebody who could play your stuff, your songs.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I'm a person too. You know what I'm saying? I always try to do that. And some people say, well, that's small talk. This is how if I'm going to ask you to play one of my clients' song on your station, I'm not just going to bum rush you and say, hey, Carl, play this. I'm going to hit you. Hey, Carl, what's up, bro? I ain't talked to you in a minute. You good? How's everything? In the D, when the last time you talked to Greg, blah, blah. We have our small talk. Then I'm going to ask you, some people may say that ain't cool, but I think it is, That's just how I flow.
I think again, relationships are important. I've run into a lot of announcers who wouldn't play my music,
Mm-hmm.
but I understood the importance of relationships. I had one announcer that told me, I'm not going to play your song. And because somebody else was playing it. Like, okay, to this day, we still cool.
But see that to me, okay, here's my take on that. And I don't want to know who it is, and that's their way, that's their way. I used to not play artist songs because I didn't get along with the promoter, or maybe I didn't get along with the artist. But God convicted me. Now, he may not, whoever sees this interview, you can handle it how you want to handle it. But he convicted me because, and I wouldn't play a song if I didn't like it. But I feel that if the message is solid, how can I deny the listening audience who don't know that this artist might be stank, who don't know that the radio promoter might be a hot mess, who don't really understand that the song maybe not be that produced very well, but the song is touching them? Who am I to deny the listening audience that song? Because if you think about it, at the end of the day, now I know all the logistics behind programming radio stations, I understand it. But at the end of the day, whatever genre you're in, your purpose is to relay that message of that song to that audience you're trying to, whether it be a rap song talking about getting with your girl tomorrow, whether it be a gospel song talking about coming to Christ, whether it be a jazz instrumental that's trying to soothe and relax you. You're trying to get that message out. Right. So who am I to deny Sister Sally a song about going to church that she ain't been to church in a long time, and I don't play call song, and she don't get her heart ain't pricked. I feel like I'm doing a disjustice, because then we become gatekeepers.
Right. We
become what I've played a lot of songs that I don't particularly like. I'm not a quartet guy. I enjoy, I can vibe with the track and stuff, but I'm not a quartet guy. But I live in the quartet area, so I got to play some quartet music.
Play some quartet.
Like, so again, this is how I roll. Those who watch this interview who are in radio, that's fine. Don't be in my inbox telling me, Tony, you wrong, because God convicted me about it. So that's how I roll.
So this isn't a question, but when you think about somebody presenting something to you for airplay, what is the proper way, or what is some of the expectations of how you should present the package? Sometimes I kind of think of Bill Cosby when one of his daughters.
When Dad came, yeah. I'll put that steak on that trash can.
Yeah. The presentation, because let's be honest, we get so much music that is hard. You know, I used to be the radio person. I would sit down and listen to every song that came in, listen to the whole CD, everything, trying to find that right song. But now, if you don't catch me in that first 30, 50, 60 seconds, next.
Yeah. So that's another chapter in my book. So y'all get the lyrics and limelight. I think if you're going to hit somebody up in the inbox, I think you should introduce yourself, let them know that you're an artist, and then ask, what is the proper way to submit music to your platform?
Right.
Don't just come in my inbox and start dropping all your music and don't say nothing and leave, because that's going to go straight to the delete. If you're at an event, say you're at the Stellars at the Radio Awards, or you're at the Spin Awards, or you're at the Rhythm of Gospel Awards, or the Doves, or whatever, and you run up to radio people, don't just hand them your CD. Maybe have a business card. Try to find out who they may be, and how can I get on your schedule to reach out to you about possibly talking about you listen to some music, or what are your radio days that you listen to music, or who handles your radio submissions? Ask those questions, especially if you're at an event. If I'm at an event, I'm there to enjoy the event. I don't want to talk about trying to get your music on my radio, on the New Artist Profile on C Stage. You know, Timberland don't want to hear about, she trying to enjoy the show. She ain't trying to get, so just, and I understand, you get excited, you see the people, but don't be so overzealous. But especially don't be invading my inbox with your music, because that's going to go straight to the trash.
I think sometimes also know who the people are that you should approach. And again, know how to approach them.
Yeah.
You know, introduce yourself. I've learned that I can walk into a place, hi, I'm Carl B. Phillips, I'm an indie artist. How can I get my music to you? Or like you said, let me kind of build that relationship. Let me kind of do something. The other side that I'm learning too is that follow people on social media. Like I said earlier, you and I connected because of social media. So when we finally met, we had a connection.
Right. You're right. A lot of times, if I want to meet somebody and I see them at the event, I'll just sit back and I'll like, okay, send them a friend request. I won't say nothing to them at the event. If we pass each other, hey, how you doing? You know, I wanted to meet Derek Stevens, Monica Lisa Stevens' husband, so bad because I think he's a dope producer. When I saw him, I think I saw him when I saw you in Nashville at an event. I can't remember which one, but you were there, and I think he was he was there for something, and I was like, oh my God, this, you know, because I love his production. And but I didn't sweat him. I just hit him up, you know, social media, and then because me and Monica had a relationship, I was able to get the Derek and stuff. But sometimes you just have to use some discretion. I think that as an artist, you always have to carry yourself professionally.
Right.
I told the young lady a couple of weeks ago, she was like, I'm just an indie artist, and I said, stop saying that. I said, because you're really getting on my nerves. She said, why? I said, because you keep saying, I'm just this. If you continue to say that, then you're going to always believe that, because the life and death is in the power of the tongue. If you keep saying, I'm just this, and you're downplaying yourself, then you're never going to have the confidence to operate in what God gave you. You know what I'm saying? So you have to carry yourself with a certain amount of professionalism when you go to these places. You just come out, you know what I'm saying? That's cool, but still, you know, you have to handle yourself a certain way. You know, my mother used to be like, you know, don't throw all your cards on the table. You know what I'm saying? You got to kind of ease into certain things. And I think that's one of the things that independent artists don't do. You know, decorum is very important, you know. Yeah, we can talk about that a lot, but yeah, artists try to develop relationships. Don't invade people's inbox on social media. Find out the proper way to submit the music. And don't get offended if they don't play your music. Like Carl, like don't get offended. You know, I'm taking over the interview. I'm sorry.
You're fine.
One of the things I try to do is teach independent artists the art of radio, why radio is what it is anyway. And so, you know, it's not just, oh, they ain't playing my music. Though it could be a reason besides, you know, all the other things that you think, you know. So I try to teach that. Understand radio. If you understand what radio is there for, because radio ain't really about the music.
It's about sales.
About the sales. They just use the music to retain the people so they can get, you know what I'm saying? It ain't about
to themselves, right?
TV ain't about the shows, it's about the sales. You know what I'm saying?
Because if there's no commercials, there's no money, then there's no radio.
There's no radio. Right. So yeah, I try to educate the artists on understanding radio. And a lot of them be like, oh, okay, I got you, Tony. You know, why can't they play a song that's 6 minutes? Because this is why. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's too long. Like, yeah.
You've mentioned several times throughout the interview about your book, Lyrics to Limelight, A Guide to Success in the Music Industry. Why was it important to you at this point in your life to put all of your knowledge into how to build a successful music career in a book?
Well, I always have to give credit where credit is due. I got to shout out my man, Larry Robinson, from Gospel Updates magazine out of Houston, Texas. I would get on social media and I would give all this information away for free. Mm-hmm. And Larry hit me up one day. He said, he called me by my government name. He said, Dallas Anthony Frazier. He said, you need to write a book. and I can help you publish the book because Larry's published, man, countless books, amazing author. And so I was like, you think so? He's like, yeah. So we worked out the deal, and I wrote all of my ideas down. He said, write it out, write them down. And he came up with all of this. So thank God for Larry Robinson and have great friends. But one of the things is, I remember T.D. Jakes saying that if you write a book, it's like your calling card. It's something that you will always leave. It's a legacy that you leave. And so I feel like this is the legacy that I have, that when I'm no longer here, then people can still go to Amazon and get this information. Some of it may be outdated, but some of it still may be relevant. But I wanted to give information, because when I share things passionately because I really want these artists to win. Mm. I'm not in it for the money, although I do what I do for a living, and I have to get paid because got to pay the light bill, got to pay the media base, got to pay certain things. But I really do what I do because I want the artists to win. That's one of the reasons why I can't quit the NAP show, because I want them to win. And so that was why I decided to, with the coaxing of Larry Robinson, to come up with the book, so that, somebody coming into the industry and they don't know where to go. They don't know what to put in ChatGPT and ask. They don't know who in the industry they can trust. Somebody might say, hey, Tony D got a book, Lyrics to Limelight, go to Amazon and check it out. So yeah, that's why.
Throughout this conversation, Dallas, you have talked about a lot that you've done for indie artists. I've also heard you through social media sometimes reference how some people will come back and say thank you, and some people will forget you. How do you handle how do you come to terms with the responses from artists after you've poured so much into them?
Wow. Well, we're people with feelings, so sometimes it does hurt. But it's like when you lose a friend that you had for a long time. Mm-hmm. You thought that was going to be your ride or die till Jesus came, or y'all left, whatever. And then for some reason the friendship breaks up, and it's like, wow, I'm realizing that everything is seasonal. Right. The Bible says in Ecclesiastes about seasons, talks about seasons. So I feel like, and I approach everything, even my business, Christian Sounds Media Group, I approach the artist. Our relationship may be just this consultation phone call. Our relationship may be 6-month promotion and that's it. Or our relationship may be 2, 3, 4, 10 years. Like I have Jason Hendrickson has been a client of mine for 5 years now. Mm-hmm. So I look at it like that. I look at it like I'm a piece of the puzzle. I'm a piece of your story for this particular purpose and this particular thing. It may not be a long-lasting thing, and that's I'm maturing to understand that in so many different areas in my life. I like to hold on to people that I'm cool with, that but sometimes that's just not God's plan. And so I have to learn to how to bob and weave according to how, when God takes people out of my life or brings them in or whatever the case may be. So I just feel like if I'm doing it from a genuine place in my heart and I'm pouring into somebody, God is be pleased with it. I'm cool with that. I'm cool with him. I'm cool with him saying, when I stand before him, he's like, yeah, you really tried your best to bless these people. Some left you, some dogged you out, some talked about you, some scandalized your name, but you did. And, because I have had some folks say some stuff about me that wasn't true. When I seen them at these award shows, I want to bust them in the face. I ain't gonna lie. But, you gotta, I just, whatever, keep it pushing.
Yeah, man, it's interesting because, like you said, when building relationships can be, sometimes you wonder, what did I do for you to leave me?
Yeah.
I've read something recently that talked about watering relationships, and it kind of They talked about how sometimes when you stop watering your relationship, the relationship dries up.
Mm.
You know, you've watered relationships, then they dried up because, they weren't watering their part of the relationship,
Right, right.
you know.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's got to be two ways of watering.
Yeah.
You got grass, but I got grass too. Your grass is green, mine is brown.
Because you're not watering my grass.
Can't water my grass, right? Yeah. And sometimes, you got to realize, hey, my water bill getting high. I got to cut this water off.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Sometimes, I'm at that place in my life now too, where I'm like, yo, like I done watered you a lot. What am I getting back? How you pouring into me? You know what I'm saying? So yeah, it's hard, but I kind of think of it like a pastor, a really good pastor. Pastor pours, he waters, he pours, he waters, he sows, he pours, he waters, he sows, he prays, he preaches, he pours. It reminds me of you know, Jesus poured, 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 poured. You know what I'm saying? And there's times where I feel like he was like, yo, like, who with me? You know what I'm saying? So yeah, we gotta sometimes parts in life where you just it's hard, but I just when you're called to do something, you endure those times where it's hard. You know what I'm saying? And like I said earlier in the conversation, when you get those responses when people say thank you,
Right.
So yes, this past weekend we were traveling through South Carolina, traveling from Columbia, and I was on in Columbia, and then we get to Lexington and Aiken, and I'm on in Aiken, and my son was like, "Man, that's cool, Dad." Like, stuff like that is just priceless. You know what I'm saying? That your kids really appreciate, what you do. So those are the things that just keep me doing it, man.
One of the things, Tony, that I've learned, sometimes we don't get the thank you from who we want the thank yous from,
Mm-hmm.
but a total stranger may just walk up and say, thank you for what you've done. Thank you for what you're doing in music.
Yeah.
Have you experienced that where it's like you out somewhere and somebody that you didn't even know was like, say thank you? And it kind of reminds you that what you're doing has purpose.
This past weekend, when I performed in an event, and one of the ladies was like, "Tony D, you the Tony D on WDEK?" I was like, "Yes, man." She said, "Oh man, I listen to you all the time." you know, I was like, "Okay," because sometimes I'm like, I wonder is anybody listening? I'm just out here talking. I'm just playing it, So yeah, man, those are the type of things, and then for the stations hit me up because my show is dope. I got one of the baddest produced shows in the country. I ain't gonna lie. I mean, and I don't say that in a bragging way because it wasn't always good. But I had many mentors. Mike Chandler was one of them. Mike Chandler, he beat my show up. He said, "Man, this ain't no good." A lot of people, and now my show I think is produced very, very well. So when the radio stations say, "Hey, man, this is good, man. We're gonna actually give you another day." I have a couple of stations I was on Saturdays, which I was fine with because I never they say, "What day?" I'm like, "This is your station. You put me on whenever you want. I'm just honored to be there." And they, man, we're gonna give you another day. That to me, like, yo, like, because like I said, I'm just in my room. I'm in here, just doing what I do. You know what I'm saying? And when these opportunities open up, man, that's all God. Because I don't know about you, but I didn't go to school for this. I guess it was put in me as a child.
Oh, yeah, I did graduate from a radio school. It was like a 6-month course.
Yeah, see, I didn't have nothing.
Yeah. So
I had the school of hard knocks.
it's a hard knock. Like, oh,
Yeah.
I'm not supposed to know them kind of songs because I was
Yes,
saying,
you do. Yes, you do.
you mentioned this past weekend you were out performing. You're also a musician and a recording artist. How do you describe the Tony D sound musically?
You see my babies back here? Man, I'm still perfecting my sound, still learning who I am as a jazz artist. Uh, So that question, maybe you can ask me that in a couple of years. But I love smooth jazz, man. I love smooth jazz. I love jazz instrumentals. I have music with lyrics and singing, but most of the songs is jazz instrumentals. I think you were playing church jam at one time.
Right.
Yeah, I love bass. I love bass guitar. I fell in love with bass guitar watching my cousin Paulie in New York play quartet music, and he was so cool with it. And my dad bought me my first Fender Jazz bass back in the day, and I just love bass guitar. And I'm learning more about the instrument as I mature and grow older. And whenever you think you know something, you're gonna run into somebody that's gonna show you, hey, you don't know as much as you know. And I run into some of these younger bass players, but them cats bad. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not trying to do what they do, but I want to stay relevant in the game, and I'm being pushed out of my comfort zone to be an artist. God has opened up some doors, man. I didn't expect. I'm the bass player for Damian Merle and Salome and Damian Merle and friends. We've been traveling around. We do old school 70 classics, and we do his gospel set. And then I'm also the bassist for Motown classic concerts, been traveling around the country. So God has really been doing some amazing things outside of what I thought I would be doing. So I'm finding out who I am as an artist, because I'm used to just being a church bass player, locking with the drums, doing what we do. But when you got to perform and you got to woo the crowd, and that's a whole other thing in itself. So I'm learning that though. But I'm it's challenging, but I'm enjoying it.
So what's next for Dallas Anthony Frazier?
Man, bro, like, God can do exceedingly and abundantly above all that you can even ask or think. That's all I can say. Because I never thought I would be doing any of this.
Mm-hmm.
I got out the military and I went to school to learn how to make eyeglasses. That's what I thought I was going to be doing. I never thought I was going to be on radio. Never thought I would be nominated for a Stellar Award. Never thought I'd be in radio 20 some odd years on 50 some odd stations. Never thought I would have music. Look, I'm looking at my own CDs over there. I know that's probably amazing to you when you look at your own music, hear your own music on radio stations. Never thought I would have all these Spin Awards and all these accolades that God's blessed me with. And even today, I was sharing some information because I have another little workbook that I was sharing with artists today. And one of the artists inboxed me and said, I sometimes I get so overwhelmed with so much information, and everybody's sharing this and sharing that, but I'm willing to listen to you because your name comes on good ground.
Wow.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Stuff like that. Like, so I don't know what's next. I'm just like, okay, God, I'm a willing vessel. Whatever you have, I'm just enjoying this stage of life.
So how can people reach you? How can they follow you on social media? And how can they get your music? Sure.
So let me make sure I get this right, because I always tell the artists, make sure you got your social media stuff. My website is theofficialtonyd.com, theofficialtonyd.com. And my social media handles for the artists is the Music of Tony D on YouTube and the Music of Tony D on Facebook and TikTok. So the website is theofficialtonyd.com, and the music part is the musicoftonyd.com. For the new artist profile, it's the newartistprofile.online. And you can follow me on my government page because Facebook won't let me be Tony D. So I'm Dallas A. Frazier on Facebook, and you'll see everything we do. My company, Christian Sounds Entertainment, I'm there. Christian Sounds Entertainment. You'll see the artists that we work with and the information that we share, because I'm big on artist development and trying to teach the artists the right way, as you know. And you can catch me on Sundays on my Facebook page for the New Artist Profile Live on Level Up Nation. We'll be interviewing you soon, hopefully in the next week or some couple of weeks. And we come on at 6 p.m. And C Stage Radio. You can listen to the New Artist Profile every weeknight at 7 p.m. cstageradio.online, and which Timberland and I own that station together. And I'm streaming on all streaming platforms. And bandcamp.com, tonyd2.bandcamp.com. That's the site where you can go and get exclusive music from Tony D that's not available on the streaming platforms. So tonyd2.bandcamp.com. That's when you'll hear some stuff that's unreleased streaming.
You're definitely an entrepreneur, and I'm proud of you for remembering all them sites and stuff to go to. To be almost 60-year-old and you can ramble all that.
I have to, because Alicia Jones, who has been helping me over the last month, she is a stickler on me remembering all this. Queen Alicia, I have to remember, because she's like, Tony, you need to remember. So, and then I got to practice what I preach. I can't be telling these artists they remember their stuff. Now I'm like, duh, I think it's. I think what is it? What's my website called?
I was interviewing with another person who said somebody gave out their phone number and they were on their interviews. My phone number is
no. Wrong.
You better hit me up on social media.
Yes, sir. Hit me up on social media. Don't be calling my phone. Yeah, man. That's funny.
Dallas, this has been a great interview, man. I'm so glad we had this time to spend together, just kind of hanging out, getting to know my brother a little bit better, getting to know you, just a great time. Yeah. As we wrap up, speak to someone who's considering becoming an independent artist.
It's not easy, but it is rewarding if your heart is in the right place and you're willing to be teachable. If you're not willing to be teachable and your heart's not in the right place, it's not going to be lasting. You'll have maybe some quick success, but it's not going to endure for you to become a household name. Because you think about it, Kirk Franklin was independent. Marvin Sapp was independent. Fred Hammond was independent. Commission was independent. BB and CC were independent. And people, they got signed to labels, but they initially started out as independent. And a lot of people are now independent because they're not with major labels. So have your heart right. Know your why you're doing what you do. Because as you said, people may tell you they're not going to play your music. People may say your music's not good. If you take that to heart and you don't remember your why, then you're going to quit. But if you remember your why, you'll stay in the game. And try not to wear your heart on your sleeve as an artist. I'm learning that myself as an artist. If you want to be good, people are going to critique you. They're going to tell you what you need to do better. And sometimes they might not tell you in a nice way. Sometimes they're just going, blah, you know what I'm saying? But try to decipher through the delivery to see if there's any nuggets and jewels in what they have to say. And just get as much knowledge as you can. Just stay on top of the game, get as much knowledge as you can. Don't, even if I tell you something, don't let that be the gospel. Research it yourself, because things are changing every day. So yeah, but if you do those things, man, you know, you should be okay. You should be okay. And make music for you. I'm learning that as an artist, you know what I'm saying? I'm making music for me. I used to hear the artists, you know, Stevie Wonder. Stevie Wonder made a whole album about plants. Like, The Secret Life of Plants. I think that was one of the albums in the early 70s. He made music for himself. What he felt, what he heard. You know what I'm saying? He wasn't trying to, when he left Motown and had to do what they said, he started doing his own thing. And that's how we know Stevie Wonder is being the icon. Do that yourself. When I come in here, I make music that I like. And prayerfully somebody else will too.
Great wisdom. Again, we're talking with Dallas, Tony D. I almost said Anthony again. Dallas, Tony D. Frazier. Make sure you check out the new artist profile. Make sure you get his book, Lyrics to Limelight. You want to put the book up again while I'm talking about Lyrics to Limelight, A Guide to Success in the Music Industry. It is available on Amazon. See, you forgot to say about where your book was available.
Oh, Lord. Yes, it's on Amazon, Amazon.com. Amazon.com.
I got to your list of things you have to remember. You are listening to, watching the Carl B. Phillips Show. Again, I've had a great time with my friend and my brother, Dallas Frazier. I always close by saying this: remember to work like you don't need the money, love like you've never been hurt, and dance like no one's watching you. God bless until we meet again.
The Carl B. Phillips Show is produced by Carl B. Phillips for Prove Me Productions. For more information about Carl B. Phillips, visit carlbphillips.com. Subscribe to The Carl B. Phillips Show on YouTube or your favorite podcast outlet.